A famous philosopher once said, "With great power comes great responsibility." But an ALT YouTuber says, "With the Jet ALT's various responsibilities come the unwritten rules of conduct and misconduct." Wale. In this video, I'm going to share 8 do's and don'ts of an ALT under the JET program. These are apart from those written in the JET handbook issued by Claire. So, warning, follow at your own discretions. So let's get started with the first one. You should team teach with Japanese teachers in all your school placements. When we say several teachers, of course, expect that each of them has their own teaching techniques, teaching strategies, classroom management skills, and regardless of their level of English proficiency, be it in the elementary, or in junior high school, or in the senior high school, expect that you will be scheduled to meet with them at least once a week. That is, to ask them of any additional tasks or assignments or jobs that they want you to do or to contribute in addition to your weekly classes. If you are placed at the elementary schools, you will be dealing with some homeroom teachers who have low level of English proficiency, or if you are lucky if they have at least, or if they can talk some or a bit of English sentences. What's really more challenging is if the homeroom teacher doesn't speak any English at all. So your flexibility, your creativity, and your communication skills are really put into good use, especially if you don't have any teaching background or if you don't have any education background. So that's really a challenge. But you have to do it because, as expected, you are to team teach or you are to co-teach with the English teachers in junior high school or with the homeroom teachers at the elementary school. Which leads to our second point. You have to be a total performer or entertainer, even to the point that you look awkward, you look silly, or as if you feel that you're losing your dignity as a teacher or as a person. Because many teachers expect you to have fun and exciting and interesting activities or class activities. And some teachers don't expect you to teach grammar or some English points. They just want you to give the students some games or fun activities or some interactive activities or some interesting activities. Of course, with the use of English. So even if you brought with you your years of experience as being a teacher in your home country, or you brought your professional teaching license or professional teacher's license with you, that doesn't matter much because you are not an actual teacher here. I mean, you are not a teacher per se. However, as a teacher, you should have gained more than enough experiences, more than enough teaching techniques and strategies to present an activity without you looking awkward or without you looking silly, or you still maintain your dignity as a person or as a teacher. But if you really can't help it, here's a wise idea. You include your JTE or the HRT in all your activities. So in that way, you're not the only adult who looks funny or who looks awkward while doing those activities. Diba? So damay-damay na to. Third, you should dress professionally every day, at least for the first few weeks. Well, I think to dress professionally is actually relative. It all depends on your work environment. The key here is to observe the teachers and the school staff on how they dress up or how they dress in going to work. At the elementary school, since the kids are more active, you can actually wear trainer pants and t-shirts, unlike in the junior high school. So again, observe the teachers there, how they dress in going to work. You can wear your casual clothes, or if you want, you can dress up. You can wear smart casual, or you can go as formal as you want if you see some other teachers or staff doing so. But of course, if there is a school event or a school program, check or confirm if you have a dress code for that. Because not all school ceremonies you need to dress up, like very formal. So the key here is to confirm. You don't want to show up for your staff pictorial or for your opening and closing ceremonies or for your graduation program in your faded jeans na may butas-butas pa or in your metallic shirt or yung mga may Pokemon t-shirts. Fourth, you have to go to school on time and go home beyond official time. Until your second year or so. You know how the Japanese people value time, right? And they usually have their professional impression or perception on you depending on how early you report to school or how late you go home to school after each day's work. So I suggest you go to school at least about 30 minutes before your official time and go home about 15 to 30 minutes after your official time. Well, it still depends on you if you want to go to school or if you want to report to school as early as 7 a.m. to greet the students at the gate or stay up late and join them in their club activities or after school activities. But the point is, do not go to school late or leave school earlier than your official time unless you file for a nenkyu or an hourly nenkyu or a paid leave. Fifth, you shouldn't speak with your students in Japanese unless you have to. Whether your Nihongo level is really good or you only know the basics or you have zero level and you would want to practice it out with your students, some JTEs or homeroom teachers don't allow you talking to the students in Japanese. According to them, the students need to get used to or be familiarized with the real sounds of English. Sometimes you would find HRTs or JTEs who would allow you to assist the students, to engage the students in a conversation, whether in Japanese or in English or in mixed languages, to explain a certain grammar point or to explain a certain lesson, or further encourage them to do the tasks or activities like what real teaching assistants do. So if it's okay with your JTE or with your HRT to speak with the students in Japanese or in Nihongo, grab that opportunity to also improve yourself, improve your Nihongo skills or practice your Nihongo skills. And at the same time, you are actually establishing good or better relationships with your students. You can actually engage or exchange jokes with them or just talk about anything during lunch breaks, in between classes, or after school, or even outside of the school. Anyway, that's the real essence of learning a language, right? Sixth, you cannot discipline students. This is one, shall I say, frustration that I have as an assistant language teacher. Or maybe your frustration also, especially if you've been a practicing teacher back in your home country, or even when you're not. Sometimes you'll encounter really, really rude or disrespectful or problem students. Like they talk too much nonsense, or they sleep during class, they don't turn in their outputs, they don't do their homework, or they don't do whatever activity you ask them to do in the class. Like, they don't want to do just anything. Nakakapanggigil, di ba? But then again, you're not allowed to discipline the students. It is the responsibility, it is the job of the Japanese teachers to do it. But sometimes the Japanese teachers just shrug off or they just ignore the students. If you can't really help it, simplehan mo na lang ng kurot, pinang-pinong kurot, or ng batok siguro, batukan mo na lang na ganun. Pero simple lang naman. Simplehan mo lang, hindi yung obvious. Ganun. Seventh, you should not post videos or pictures of your students or of your school online. I've mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but yeah, you're not allowed to do so. You're not allowed to take out your phone camera or your cell phone and take pictures or videos of your students while they're doing something. Especially when you're inside the classroom. You can't see any Japanese teacher doing that unless you get a permission from your school principal. Generally, Japanese teachers or school staff won't call you out for taking a video or taking a picture or taking out your phone while inside your classroom or while you're having your class. So don't wait for someone to indirectly tell you that that's not allowed. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. You have to understand, it's for your students' privacy na din. And the last one, you should not break contract with JET program, especially if you are planning to reapply and enjoy the allowable years or period of participation in JET program. That is, if you didn't finish the maximum allowable period of participation in the JET program, which is 5 years. For delicadeza, di ba? How do you think would the sponsoring organization would say or would think if you broke contract and then in the next period of application they'll see your name again applying or reapplying for a JET program position? And if you break contract, of course that will appear in your history of employment or in your employment background. You don't want to have a record of not finishing your contract or of breaking your contract when you want to apply for another position, right? You don't want your future employers to think negatively about how you follow or how you respect contracts. So those are 8 of the do's and don'ts of a JET ALT that I could think of. And I want to hear also what you think about these 8 things that I mentioned. Or if you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have other opinions, please feel free to write them down in the comment section. I'd be glad to hear what you have to say. So that's all for this video. I'll see you again next time. May pahabol pa. Bonus. Bonus point. Bonus do's and don'ts. Ayun. So it's okay to wear turtleneck. Even if you're not used to wearing this, especially during winter, for your comfort na din. And it's okay to have a haircut like this in winter. Bakit ba? Kanya-kanyang trip lang din yan, di ba? Bye.